All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about something fascinating, an ancient concept that you can think of as a kind of hidden operating system for your own mind. We're talking about the gunas. These are three fundamental forces that, according to ancient Vedic wisdom, are always, and I mean always, shaping our thoughts, our actions, and even the reality we think we see.
I mean, think about it. Have you ever wondered why you feel totally calm and clear one day, and then the next, you're just restless and can't focus? Or, those days where you feel completely sluggish, just stuck in a rut. It feels random, right? But what if it's not? What if there's a pattern, a system behind all these feelings?
Well, that's exactly what these ancient texts suggest. They don't see these as just random moods. Instead, they see it all as a constant dance between three core energies. And if you understand this framework, it's kind of like getting the user manual for your own consciousness. So, let's get to know them. Their names are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. But we can think of them in simple terms as the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Each one has its own unique flavor, its own personality, and it influences us in totally different ways. So first up, we've got Sattva. This is the mode of goodness. Think of this as the force of balance, of harmony, and light. It's that feeling of perfect equilibrium, When Sattva is the main force at play, your mind feels super clear, you're focused, and there's this deep sense of peace and contentment. And you can actually see what this looks like in practice. The source material lays it out for us. Peace of mind, self-control, tolerance, truthfulness, compassion, faith. These aren't just nice ideas. They're the real, tangible results of when goodness is dominant inside you. It's that state where you just feel genuinely good and at peace with everything. Okay, next is Rajas, the mode of passion. Now this one is all about action, desire, and restless energy. Rajas is that fire that gets you out of bed in the morning, pushing you to chase after your goals. It's the engine of ambition and change. But it's also the source of that constant feeling of needing to do something, and it gets us really attached to the outcomes of our actions. And you can see how this is a real double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it gives us that drive, that vigorous effort to create and achieve. But on the other hand, it can also lead to things like pride, rivalry, and this endless, greedy desire for more success, more fame, more stuff. And that can really lead to a lot of stress and unhappiness. And finally, we have Tamas, the mode of ignorance. Think of this one as the force of darkness, of inertia, of feeling, stuck. If Rajas is all about movement, Tamas is the heavy brake that resists all movement. It's the fog that clouds our judgment and leads to inactivity, laziness, and confusion. And when Tamas is strong, it really brings out the darker side of things. We're talking about anger, falsehood, delusion, and just a deep sense of sorrow. It's that heavy fatigue that makes you want to sleep all day. It's the fear that paralyzes you and keeps you from moving forward. It's basically the force that pulls everything down. But here's the really crucial part. None of these forces just sit still. They're in a constant tug of war, a cosmic dance inside of us, each one trying to take the lead at every single moment of our lives. Yeah, so you're never just 100% Sattva or 100% Rajas. Our personalities, our moods, the choices we make, all of it is a unique cocktail, a blend of these three forces. And the way they mix and fight for control is what makes life so complex and so, textured. The dynamic is pretty clear. When Sattva, or goodness, comes out on top, you get peace and knowledge. Simple. When Rajas, or passion, wins out, it pushes us into restless action and attachment, which the text says ultimately leads to suffering. And when Tamas, or ignorance, dominates, well, that's when we get trapped in delusion, grief, and just plain inaction. Okay, I know this might still sound a little out there, a bit abstract, but here's the cool thing. You can apply this framework to pretty much everything in your daily life. So let's bring this down to earth and see what these modes actually look like. This is where it gets really interesting. I mean, look at how you can categorize almost anything. Let's just take food. Sattvic food? Pure, wholesome, easy to digest. Rajas food is all about exciting the senses. Think super spicy, rich, maybe a bit over the top. And Tamas food? That's the stale, impure stuff that just makes you feel heavy and causes distress. It even applies to happiness. Sattvic happiness comes from within. Rajasic happiness comes from getting what your senses want. And Tamasic happiness? Well, it's not really happiness at all, is it? It's born from delusion. You can literally start to map your whole world this way. So the big question is, if we're constantly being tossed around by these forces, is there a way out? Is there a way to find some stability? The texts say, absolutely. The ultimate goal isn't just to hang out in the mode of goodness forever, but to actually transcend all three moods completely. And this is a really powerful quote from the source. It basically says that this human life we have is an incredibly rare opportunity. It's the perfect vehicle for gaining the knowledge to see these forces for what they are and, more importantly, to rise above their influence. The path, it suggests, is to let go of our attachment to all of them. And it's not just some vague idea. The text lays out a very clear, practical, two-step process to get there. It's a real strategy for learning how to navigate these inner currents and reach a state of pure, balanced consciousness. So here's how it works. Step 1, you actively cultivate goodness. You use the qualities of Sattva, like clarity, peace, and balance, to fight back against the pull of passion and ignorance. It's like using a bright light to get rid of the darkness and calm the storm. But, and this is key, you don't stop there. Step 2 is to then transcend even goodness itself. Once your mind is peaceful and detached, you can let go of all three, freeing yourself from their influence entirely. And the outcome of this whole process? It's pretty profound. The text says that by mastering these qualities that are born in the mind, you become truly free. You're no longer controlled by the whims of your body or the ups and downs of your mind. Instead, you attain what's described as a divine and complete nature. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. As you go through your day today, just take a moment to notice which of these forces feels most active in your life right now. Is it goodness, passion, or ignorance? And maybe more importantly, what's one small, simple step you could take to bring in just a little more balance, a little more sattva? That one small step could really change everything. Thanks for joining me.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into something that's, well, arguably one of the oldest and most complete frameworks for understanding human behavior.
It really is. We're talking about the three modes of nature, or the guṇas.
And this isn't just about personality types, it's deeper. The idea is that these are the fundamental energies that shape our character, our actions, and maybe even our destiny.
That's right. And our source today is this incredible discussion where the Supreme Lord explains to Uddhava how these three modes, goodness, which is sattva, passion, rajas, and ignorance, tamas, how they influence us.
It's like a master key, right? To diagnose why we feel a certain way or why a situation is playing out the way it is.
Exactly. Whether they're acting in their pure form, which is rare, or all mixed together, which is basically everyday life.
So our mission for this deep dive is to get a handle on this whole operating system. We want to understand what the pure modes look like, how they mix to create our reality, and this is the big one, how to actually move beyond them.
It's the ultimate guide to why you feel the way you feel.
Let's start with those three pure building blocks then. We need to know what they are before we can see how they mix. So let's start at the top with sattva, the mode of goodness.
Right. This one is described as luminous, pure. It's got this auspicious quality to it.
Like a high vibration of sorts.
Exactly. If you imagine someone totally in this mode, you're looking at qualities like a real peace of mind, control of the senses.
Not being pulled around by every little craving.
Not at all. And also tolerance, truthfulness, compassion, contentment. It's a state of real inner satisfaction, a kind of mental harmony.
So when sattva is dominant, a person is just peacefully engaged in virtue, in learning things, and in a state of, I guess, genuine happiness.
That's it. It's not just being nice. It's an inner state of flow.
Okay, so that's the ideal. But then you have the second one, Rajas, the mode of passion.
And this is the dynamic one. It's not inherently bad, but it's the engine. It's the driving energy of creation, of action, of attachment.
This is the one that gets things done.
It moves the world, for sure.
Yeah.
But it also causes the most stress.
So what does that look like? What are the characteristics of Rajas?
Think intense activity, desire or even lust, vigorous striving, pride, greed, arrogance, rivalry, that competitive edge.
So basically hustle culture.
That is a perfect modern translation.
Yeah.
If your day is about deadlines, chasing a promotion, networking, the intense pursuit of wealth or fame, you are living in Rajas.
And the source material warns about this, right? Even though it leads to success, there's a catch.
A huge catch. That striving itself is the problem. It binds you. All that work gets you fame, money, status, but the source is crystal clear. It ultimately leads to suffering because it all depends on things outside of you, things that are temporary.
The constant need for more.
That's the definition of the trap.
Okay. So Sattva is clarity. Rajas is the drive. That brings us to the third mode, Tamas.
Ignorance.
And this is the complete opposite. It's darkness, mental fog, just pure inertia.
So this is the state of decay then. Decay, mental dullness, apathy. The characteristics here are anger, greed, falsehood, violence, fatigue, but also things like deep sorrow, delusion, despair.
Laziness too, right? And excessive sleep.
Yes. When this mode is dominant, a person just becomes inactive, dull. The mind is depressed. Your consciousness literally fades.
Like a spiritual burnout.
Or doom-scrolling yourself into a stupor. It's the same energy.
Which brings us to the real world because, like you said, we don't really see these in a pure state. They're all mixed up.
Exactly. And the Source has a name for this. It calls it sanapada, the combined influence. This constant churning, this mixture, is the foundation of our worldly reality.
And when does that kick in?
The moment you start thinking in terms of I and mine, ego and possessiveness, that sense of self, that ego, it arises from this mix of the mind, the senses, the things the senses are chasing. It's all part of it.
So this mixture is basically just being a person in the world.
It is. And for most people, the goal is to find a balance in that mixture, to be established in your duties, your job, your enjoyments. That intermixture is what brings faith and attachment and prosperity. It's what makes society function.
But if it's always mixed, how can we tell what's in charge at any given moment?
Well, the Source gives us a really simple diagnostic tool. You just have to observe your own mind and body.
I like simple. So what do we look for?
Okay, so if you're in a sattvic state, your mind will feel serene, peaceful. Your senses are satisfied, not craving. Your body feels fearless, light. You feel detached.
An easy, fluid feeling.
Right. Now contrast that with the rajasic state. That's excessive activity, restlessness. There's a bodily uneasiness, like a tension. Your mind is agitated, confused.
You feel productive, but you're also totally stressed out.
Exactly. And finally, Tamas, it shows up as a depressed mind, total inertia, a feeling of dullness, like you can't even grasp a new idea. You just feel heavy.
So by checking in with those feelings, you can get an instant read on your current operating mode.
An instantaneous diagnosis.
Okay, so this is bigger than just moods. The guṇas seem to categorize everything. Our actions, what we value even, where we go next.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about the practical side. Take work or karma. Even your job is categorized by these modes.
How so?
If you do your work as an offering or without any desire for the results, you just do it because it needs to be done well, that's sattvic work. It actually purifies you.
But if you're doing it for the promotion, the bonus, the fame?
That's rajasic. It moves you forward, but it's creating that chain of suffering we talked about.
And tamasic work.
That's work motivated by violence or cruelty, or even just pure laziness done sloppily. The outcome is destructive, or at the very least, dulling.
This applies to what we think of as knowledge, too.
It does. Sattvic knowledge is knowledge of the true self. It leads to liberation. Rajasic knowledge is all about speculation, debate, argument.
Trying to win the argument rather than find the truth.
Precisely. And tamasic knowledge is purely materialistic. It's mundane, focused only on the temporary, and it just dismisses anything deeper.
And this all scales up, doesn't it? The Source says the dominant mode determines your destination after this life.
The stakes are very high. It says those absorbed in sattva go to higher heavenly realms. Those in rajas come back here, to the human world. The cycle of striving continues.
And those in tamas?
They fall into lower, hellish states.
Wow. And the big takeaway is that this framework applies to everything. The Source literally lists it out. Substance, place, result, time, knowledge, action, performer, faith. It's all influenced.
Everything you see, hear, or even think about is a product of this interplay.
Which brings us to the most important part. The goal isn't just to be good.
No. The goal is transcendence, the state of nirguna beyond the modes. The wise person has to realize these modes aren't who they really are.
Can you say more about that? If I feel greedy, is that me, or is that just Rajas acting through my mind?
That is the essential insight. The modes are described as sitajo, born of the mind.
Ah, so there's psychological constructs, not the soul itself.
Exactly. They are not the eternal qualities of the soul. It's our attachment to these mental states that binds us and makes us suffer.
So how do you get free? There must be a strategy.
There is. It's a two-step process, and it's a bit counterintuitive.
Okay, step one.
Step one is practical. You have to conquer passion and ignorance, rajas and tamas, by actively, diligently cultivating goodness, cultivating sattva.
So you use the higher energy to stabilize things.
Right. You use good to overcome the bad and the chaotic.
And step 2, this must be the leap.
It is. Once you're stable in sattva, you have to conquer sattva itself. You do it through complete detachment, total disinterest in the results of even your good actions.
So you use the rope of goodness to climb out of the mud, and then you let go of the rope.
You drop the rope entirely. The source says the most effective way to do this is through devotional service, through bhakti yoga. That devotion fosters the kind of detachment you need to finally transcend them all.
And that state, your guṇ.
Yeah.
What is that like?
It's freedom. Freedom from identifying with your body and your mind. Freedom from all the qualities that are just born of mental desires. You become complete, satisfied in yourself. You just abide in that state.
So this whole framework, it's a diagnostic tool. It shows us why we act the way we do, why our ambitions can bring us suffering, and how to see the real nature of things.
It's a map.
And for you, the listener, there's a key advantage here. The source points out that the human body is uniquely capable of this. It's the one tool we have that allows us to realize this wisdom and give up our attachment to the modes.
Which brings us to the final question, really. If the ultimate goal isn't just goodness, but transcendence beyond all the modes, you have to ask yourself something.
When you make a choice, what to do, what to learn, where to live, even what to eat, you're choosing which mode to feed. So are you moving higher toward clarity? Are you staying stuck in the loop of striving? Or are you falling into inertia?
And the real question is, how much conscious control do you truly have over these modes that are, in the end, just born of the mind?